Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I am an authentic immortal, but I am a big villain. Chapter 21. Boom. A huge spirit power surged out of his body, instantly breaking through the already loose bottleneck. Yukingshin, in less than a day, has successfully broken through from the supernatural power late stage to the peak of supernatural power. And the effect of the explosive pill is only 1/10 of it. Yuking Mountain, which successfully broke through to the peak of the supernatural power realm, naturally strikes while the iron is hot. Feeling the endless pain from his own body, Yu Qingshan was in great torment. But when he thought that Yu Mingkong would be given to Yayun, just to appease Yayun's anger, he forcibly held back. Compared to the woman he loves being given to another man, such pain is nothing at all. Come. Yu Qingshan roared, continued to sit down in the lotus position, and broke through towards the higher level sensing Dao realm. The whole body was flushed, one after another, and the veins surged under the skin like green snakes, and the picture looked a little scary. In Yuking Mountain, there is a looming old figure. This old figure is Yukingshan's master, the remnant soul of the great saint realm. Touching his gray beard, seeing that Yu Qingshan was able to persist, remnant soul's eyes showed satisfaction. He is very pleased to have a student who is talented and has great endurance. Maybe, in the future, my disciple can help me reshape my body and give me a chance to rebuild. This is why he is willing to accept Yu Qingshan as his disciple. Here, Yayun came to Yunyeo's garden. There are all kinds of fairy grass and spirit flowers here. Yayun couldn't help but sigh. It's really worthy of the Ye family. There is really no one who uses the fairy grass and spirit flower as an ornamental plant. Among these ornamental plants, there are even plants that can live to the flesh and bones of the dead, which is rare in immortal domain. When they came to the pavilion in the middle of the garden, Yayun saw Yunyeo, who was sitting there admiring the flowers at a glance. Beside him, there are several maids serving him. But look down on these maids. Even these small maids are extremely powerful. This is the background of the Ye family, which no one can match. Coming to the pavilion, Yayun slightly cupped his hands and called out, "Mother." Yunyao was distracted just now. When she regained her senses, she saw Yayun in front of her eyes. A joyful smile appeared on his face. He stood up and took Yayun's hand, and smiled. "Yuner is here. Come, sit down quickly. Mother has something to tell you." Hearing that Yunyao had something to do with her, Yayun also became interested. This suddenly finds itself. What will happen? With a light wave of her hand, Yunyao gave instructions to the surrounding maids. "You all go back first." "Yes, ma'am." X5. These maids have completely obeyed Yunyao's order and retreated one after another. They didn't go far, but stayed by the garden, waiting for Yunyao to summon them at any time. After all the maids left, only Yayun and Yunyao's mother and son were left in the pavilion. "Yuner, I want to tell you a very good thing." Yunyao's face was full of joy, as if something great and good was coming. This made Yayun even more curious about what kind of good thing could make her mother so happy. "It's like this, you know, Mother, I have a big brother who is the head of the Yun family. He has a daughter, that is, your cousin, the one you played with when you were 7 or 8 years old. Do you remember? She will come to our house during this time to see you." When she heard about her cousin, Yayun's face suddenly became weird, and the memories in his mind were churning. After reading the memories of that time, Yayun's face turned dark. It's true that he has a cousin, but that cousin always likes to make troubles. When he was 7 or 8 years old, his cousin was almost 10 years old. At that time, my cousin had been practicing for a long time, and Yayun had just started practicing, so she always liked to bully Yayun. Like a little witch, she likes to tease Yayun whenever she has nothing to do. This caused Yayun to have a psychological shadow at that time, and vowed never to get too close to that cousin in the future. Unexpectedly, after so many years, that girl would come again. But the current Yayun is no longer the Yayun of the past. For this so-called cousin, Yayun has no fear at all. Cousin is coming, of course it is welcome. Yayun had a smile on his face, as if what happened when he was a child was nothing to be afraid of. This time it was Yunyao's turn to be confused. "Why does it feel weird? You must know that Yun in the past, as long as she heard the word cousin, she would immediately tremble with fright. Don't mention meeting. Mentioning these two words will make his heart tremble. But why is it suddenly different now? Can people's mental energy become stronger after chi deviation? This is something Yunyao can't understand. But seeing that her son was willing to see her cousin, Yun was also very happy. Her big brother, Yunfan, is now the head of the Yun family. If the big brother's daughter and own son can be married, the relationship between the Ye family and the Yun family will become stronger. The Night Clan is known as the most powerful force in the immortal domain, which is beyond doubt. But the Yun family is not weak at all, and it is also one of the 7 major forces in the immortal domain. Although it is not comparable to the Ye family, it is not inferior to the other 5 major forces. The Ye family and the Yun family have always had a good relationship, and later because Ye Changkong and Yun Yao became husband and wife, the two formed an alliance. Now, Yun Yao wants to further strengthen this relationship. So, she turned her idea to her big brother's daughter. Yeah. Yun looked at Yun Yao pretending to be puzzled, and asked, "Mother, what? Is there something wrong with what I said? If my cousin wants to come, then come." He didn't worry about being exposed at all. Everything can be pushed to chi deviation, it's no big deal. Yun Yao, who came back to her senses, shook her head in disbelief. "It's nothing, it's just, don't you bother your cousin now." Yun Yao was very curious about what Ye Yun was thinking. "My cousin is beautiful and charming, how can I bother her?" If it were the former Ye Yun, he might not be able to say these words even if he was killed. Seeing that her son was no longer afraid of his cousin as before, Yun Yao suddenly laughed. Good. Yuner has grown up, he. She already had a plan in mind. Originally, she thought this way in her heart, to bring the big brother's daughter here, and then with her own son, to see if the two sides are destined. If Ye Yun is no longer afraid of his cousin, maybe a marriage can be achieved between the two. This is what Yun Yao really wants to see. Yun Yao married into the Ye family, so she is naturally from the Ye family, but she is from the Yun family after all, and she wants to think about her family. Chapter 22. The best way is to be able to let own son be with his big brother's daughter. Even when I get older, I don't have to worry about major conflicts between the Ye family and the Yun family. Yuner, this time your cousin is here, if the two of you are suitable, I think. Yun Yao was about to express her own thoughts, but Ye Yun guessed what her mother wanted to say, so she quickly raised her hand to stop Yun Yao. Ahem, mother, we should leave this issue to ourselves. If the two parties really have that fate, then it will go without saying, right? He doesn't want to get married right now, he is only 18 years old, so why panic? At this time, find yourself a tigress and take care of it every day, so forget it. Giving up a forest for a tree, Ye Yun will not do such a thing. As an owner, don't you allow yourself to pick the forests outside one after another? Of course, if this cousin changes, Ye Yun can talk about it first. Seeing what Ye Yun said, Yun Yao didn't want to push her too much. She loves Ye Yun very much. Can she not feel sorry for the piece of flesh that fell from such a son? Shaking her head helplessly, Yun Yao didn't continue to entangle on this matter, but changed the subject. Okay, since you've already said that, let's do what you said first, but your cousin has already arrived on our way, and I want you to pick it up. Just 3 days later, she will be able to arrive outside our Ye family's place in 3 days. When the time comes, will you pick her up in person? Finally skipping the topic just now, Ye Yun hurriedly agreed. If she refuses at this time, Ye Yun believes that Yun Yao will definitely not let her go. Mother, I know, I will definitely go there in person then. Ye Yun readily agreed. Now he is no longer what he used to be, so naturally he won't be afraid of this so-called cousin. In order to prevent Yun Yao from finding other things for herself, Ye Yun quickly found an excuse. Mom, if there's nothing else, I'll go first. I have other things to deal with. How could Yun Yao fail to see that the knowing child is like the mother? It is Ye Yun who wants to leave. Okay, then go do your thing. Anyway, remember what you promised me in 3 days. Before Ye Yun left, Yun Yao specially reminded her, lest Ye Yun would forget. Yes, I know, then I will go first. After speaking, Ye Yun fled the garden in a hurry. Seeing Ye Yun's receding back, Yun Yao sighed helplessly. Big brother, little sister has already tried her best to fight for you. The next thing is to see the fate of Yuner and 11er. That's right. In fact, Yun Tianming specifically told Yun Yao about this matter, in order to match Ye Yun and Yun Shi. The reason why the Yun family was able to become as powerful as it is now is that, apart from the Ye family, it was able to rank in the front even among the remaining 6 major forces. The main reason is that it was able to develop to such a degree because of the help of the Ye family. As the patriarch, Yun Tianming naturally hoped that the relationship between the two parties could continue. And Ye Yun, this nephew, with immortal body, will definitely be the master of the Night Clan in the future. It happens to be about the same age as On's daughter Yun Shi, so it would be great if they could get married. Not only can it find a good home for her daughter, but it can also make the relationship between the Yun family and the Ye family last longer. Ye Yun, who rushed out the door, secretly breathed a sigh of relief after running out of the garden. At first, I thought it was something to call me, but I didn't expect it to be to discuss own marriage. Ye Yun has no such plans now, he is only 18 years old, so why panic? Taking his own Kylin car, Ye Yun is ready to take a good tour of the Ye family land. After rebirth, he still hasn't taken a closer look at what the Ye family land is like. The Kylin car can be said to be Ye Yun's identity symbol. As long as you see a car pulled by Kylin with 4 attributes, it must be Ye Yun, the young master of the Ye family. Ye Yun, who was sitting in the car, looked at the scenery outside and said something to Feng Kylin, who was running vigorously. Wind, slow down, don't go too fast. His master had already given orders. Feng Kylin quickly slowed down his own speed. When running in the sky, Feng Kylin helps the other 3 Kylins to resist the wind, so naturally they run very fast. Overlooking the land below, various famous mountains and rivers, Lingmei Fairy Mountains emerge in endlessly. You can even see some towns, scattered around the Ye family land, very prosperous. In the town, many pedestrians on the street have noticed the Kylin car slowly passing by in the sky. That's the Kylin car of young Master Ye family. It's the first time I've seen such a car, and it's being pulled by 4 Kylins. It's so inhumane. That's the young master of the Ye family, Master Ye Yun. Those 4 Kylin are the mounts he raised since he was a child. Most people don't even need to think about it. Kylin pulls a cart. With style, when can I have such style? There was a lot of discussion among the people on the street. Although many people's cultivation base might be good, no one dared to stop the Kylin car in the sky, just because the other party is Ye Yun, the young master of the Ye family. In this land of the Ye family, he is the most noble existence. Even if they leave the area of the Ye family and go to the area of other big forces, no one dares to provoke Ye Yun. It was not until late at night that Ye Yun returned to his own palace. When he came back, Xiaohe and Chu Lan were already waiting outside just as he got off the Kylin car. Of course, it wasn't just the 2 of them, there was one more person waiting here today. That person, of course, is Yu Mingkong. At this time, Yu Mingkong had already been taught by Xiaohe and Chu Lan, and knew many things. Compared with the dazedness before, Yu Mingkong now knows what he should do and what he should not do. Here at Ye Yun, besides serving Ye Yun, there is almost nothing to do. Other things will be taken care of by the people below, and their task is to serve Ye Yun well. Originally, Yu Mingkong still had a hint of arrogance in his heart, thinking that he would be Ye Yun's wife. In the end, Xiaohe's words woke her up directly. Based on your status, do you think you are qualified to be the young master's wife? The Yu family is just a small family, why should they become the young master's wife? It is your blessing that the young master takes a fancy to you. Don't be ignorant, follow the young master's side. Maybe you may have a title in the end, but don't think about the identity of the wife. These words were very true, but also very cold, which made it very difficult for Yu Mingkong to accept when he first heard about it. Chapter 23. She should have been the proud daughter of heaven, and with her own talent, her future achievements will definitely not be low. But now I can only be here, as an existence similar to a maid. Such a big gap made Yu Mingkong feel a little uncomfortable. I used to be free anyway, and would not be subject to so many constraints, but now it is completely different. From now on, I must serve Ye Yun with all my heart, and forget my identity as the proud daughter of heaven. Even if he was in a very upset mood, Yu Mingkong had to endure it, and he must not act recklessly. Otherwise, once Ye Yun gets upset, not only himself, but also his own family will suffer. He saw Yu Mingkong standing behind Xiaohe and Chu Lan with a slightly tangled expression. Ye Yun had already guessed that Yu Mingkong must have heard something from his 2 maids. A dignified and proud girl of the heavens has come down to such a point. The proud Yu Mingkong is more or less dissatisfied in her heart. But now, she can only endure. Mingkong, come here. Yayun waved lightly. Yu Mingkong, who heard the voice, saw Yayun waving to him, hesitated for a moment, but still walked over. My lord, what are your orders? That's right, she doesn't dare to call Yayun by his name anymore. Earlier, Xiaohe had specifically reminded Yu Mingkong not to call Yayun by his name directly, otherwise it would be disrespectful. Thinking of his current situation and encounters, Yu Mingkong could only grit his teeth and bear it. Yayun didn't care about Yu Mingkong's slightly troubled expression, but asked, Yukingshan, do you know this person? Before, he got 200 villain points from this person named Yu Qingshan, who was also from the Yu family, so Yu Mingkong should know him. That's why. Yayun suddenly asked this question. When Yu Qingshan heard the name, Yu Mingkong was slightly taken aback. She didn't quite understand why Yayun knew about Yuking Mountain. Although Yu Qingshan is a good talent, he already has the existence of supernatural power late stage in just a short training time, and even if the training time is as long as own, the cultivation base may not be weaker than himself. But just such a person would not attract the attention of Yayun, the young master of the Ye family. Can't figure it out for a while, Yu Mingkong honestly told Yayun everything he knew about Yuking Mountain. Young master, Yukingshan is a child of our Yu family. When he was young, his talent was mediocre, and his cultivation was not outstanding. But in the past few years, a new army has sprung up, and the speed of cultivation has increased by leaps and bounds, which makes people in the family appreciate it very much. Now it is the realm of supernatural power late stage, and it is also the favored one among the younger generation of the family. After listening to this simple introduction, Yayun also knew that Yu Qingshan must have obtained something. Otherwise, why would he, an ordinary boy, become the proud son of a generation? As expected of a son of fortune, do you know what the other party's gold finger is? Yu Mingkong's gold finger is the memory of her past life that she will awaken at the age of 22, as well as the powerful cultivation method of immortality. And this Yu Qingshan has begun to rise now, which is different from Yu Mingkong. Then, Yu Mingkong suddenly remembered what Yu Qingshan said that night when he came to rescue On. So, she told the truth to Yayun again. Also, young master, before I was sent here, Yu Qingshan wanted to take me away with me, but I didn't agree at that time. When he left, he told me that he would definitely defeat you, and then took me away. I'm afraid Yu Qingshan would never have imagined that Yu Mingkong, whom he was thinking of, would tell Yayun everything about owning without hesitation. If he found out about this situation, he would probably be so angry that he vomited blood. Yu Qingshan, who was in the process of closed-door training and stepping up the breakthrough sensing Dao, suddenly felt On's heart twitch, as if there was a bad feeling. He frowned slightly, but at this moment he didn't have time to think so much. He had to hurry up and break through. Back to Yayun, after learning about the situation from Yu Mingkong, Yayun showed a vague smile. This month, Qingshan is the son of fortune, and she didn't expect to still like a daughter of luck. If On didn't come, there might be sparks between the two in the future, but it's a pity that Yu Qingshan won't have that chance when he came by himself. Yayun checked Yu Mingkong's personal information again, and found that at the bottom of the information column, there was the same loyalty as Xiaohe and the others. It's just that unlike Xiaohe and the others who have a loyalty of 100, Yu Mingkong only has a loyalty of 20. Compared with not having this item at the beginning, 20 points more is already very good. The 20 points of loyalty were obtained because Yayun kissed Yu Mingkong forcefully when he was in the Great Hall before, which caused great psychological pressure on the other party. Looking at the bright moon in front of her eyes, Yayun reached out and gently pinched her chin. Staring directly at Yu Mingkong's beautiful eyes with dark eyes, Yayun smiled. It seems, this Yu Qingshan should have a good impression of you, Mingkong, right? For some reason, Yu Mingkong's heart tightened suddenly when he saw the smile on Yayun's face. She thought Yayun had misunderstood the relationship between herself and Yu Qingshan, so she quickly explained. No, young master, Yu Qingshan and I just know each other, it has nothing to do with it, we haven't even met a few times. After getting along for a short time, Yu Mingkong couldn't figure out what kind of temper Yayun was, and didn't want to anger Yayun because of it. If Yayun is offended, I'm afraid I will have a hard time in the future. Seeing Yu Mingkong's nervous expression, Yayun smiled slightly. There's no need to be so nervous. I'm just asking about the relationship between you two. Why are you so nervous? Saying that, Yeyun let go of Yu Mingkong's hand. He already knew from the very beginning that the relationship between Yu Mingkong and Yu Qingshan might be mediocre. The future is uncertain, but at least it is like this now. What's more, I'm afraid it's Yu Qingshan's own wishful thinking that Yu Mingkong will leave him willingly. Yu Mingkong, who escaped from the shackles, lowered his head slightly, and his two little hands were tightly intertwined. Ding! The strength of the master made Yu Mingkong feel afraid, and his loyalty increased by 5 points. Unexpectedly, just by asking a question, Yu Mingkong's loyalty increased by 5 points. Now Yu Mingkong's loyalty has reached 25 points. Although 5 o'clock is not much, but since the first day, it is already 25 o'clock, which is not bad. Chapter 24. If the loyalty is below 60, there is a risk of betrayal, and the lower the loyalty, the easier it is to betray. The loyalty is between 60 and 80, and it is not easy to betray. When the target and the master are in danger at the same time, the target will abandon the master without hesitation. The loyalty is between 80 and 90. At this stage, the target will not betray the master, and is even willing to die for the master. Loyalty is above 90, there is no betrayal, the target completely obeys the master's orders, even if the target is to die. If the loyalty is below 90, it will fluctuate up and down. As long as the loyalty is above 90, it will be locked and will not drop to 90. Now Yu Mingkong's loyalty is only 25, and it may be lower at any time, but Yeyun is not worried at all. The future is still long, Yeyun. I believe that under the training of On, Yu Mingkong will become more and more obedient. Let's go back and rest. As soon as the voice fell, Yeyun walked out directly towards On's backyard. Xiaohe and Chu Lan hurriedly followed. As Yeyun's personal maid, she will only be separated from Yeyun when it is not necessary. Yu Mingkong stood on the spot and looked at the 3 people who were going away, hesitated for a while, gritted his teeth and followed. Now she has no choice at all, she is already Yeyun's person. If she doesn't please Yeyun, it will only be herself who wants to suffer. Although there is arrogance in his heart, Yu Mingkong can clearly understand the reality. Judging from the current situation, she can only do what she should do now. In the blink of an eye, 2 days have passed. In these 2 days, Yu Qingshan can be said to be working hard, clenching his teeth, and sprinting to the Sensing Dao realm with all his strength. Just to challenge Yeyun after a successful breakthrough. As long as he defeats the opponent, he will have a chance to take back Yu Mingkong. Just now, he finally successfully broke through the peak of supernatural power and entered the early stage of Sensing Dao. Wave after wave of fairy energy crazily repaired Yu Qingshan's body. Sitting cross-legged on Yuking Mountain, the place of cultivation, the skin was flushed all over, and the blood vessels under the skin burst. The bursts of pain coming from the body are reminding Yu Qingshan that it has reached its limit. But the results are naturally remarkable, from supernatural power realm late stage breakthrough to the early stage of Sensing Dao stage. Being able to persist to this point under the powerful reaction force of the exploding pill, Yu Qingshan can be regarded as a person with very strong perseverance. Call. Exhaling a long breath, Yu Qingshan suddenly opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in those black and white pupils. Picking up the own long sword, Yu Qingshan quickly displayed his most proficient sword art. The shadow of the sword flickered, and Yu Qingshan felt that his own strength had been greatly improved. The sword tactics are far more proficient than those who came before, and they are more powerful. After performing a set of sword tactics, Yu Qingshan felt more comfortable than ever. Putting away the long sword, looking at the ethereal master, Yu Qingshan said very excitedly, "Master, I finally broke through." To be able to reach the early stage of Sensing Dao at this age is already a very good talent. In addition, Yu Qingshan started much later than others. This is a genius among geniuses. Shan, you really amazed me. You were able to endure the reaction of the explosive pill. You are worthy of being my favorite disciple. Blue out of blue is better than blue. The old remnant soul sighed slightly as he stroked his gray beard. When he was young, he also wanted to use the explosive pill, but he thought he didn't have such strong perseverance, so it was useless in the end. This explosive pill has been kept until now, but I didn't expect the own disciple to be able to hold on. Sure enough, I did not choose the wrong person, and Yu Qingshan's future is absolutely limitless. Perhaps there is nothing wrong with pinning her hope of reshaping her body on Yu Qingshan. Although he has successfully broken through to sensing Dao, Yu Qingshan is still not satisfied. Bowing deeply to the remnant soul, Yu Qingshan asked with a serious face, "Master, although I have successfully broken through to the early stage of sensing Dao, I still have no certainty of winning against Yeyun. Please help me think of a way, Master." He knew that before Qi deviation, Yeyun's strength had already reached the peak of sensing Dao. Even if the strength has declined after Qi deviation, no matter what, I am afraid that it is still the late stage of the sensing Dao realm, which is 2 small realms behind him. If I don't have some means, it may be very difficult to defeat Yeyun. Originally, Remnant Soul thought that Yu Qingshan just wanted to practice hard, but he never thought that he was going to fight Yeyun. His face changed suddenly, and the hand that was caressing the white beard stopped. "Qingshan, don't be impulsive. Yeyun is the young master of the Ye family. Of course, his talent goes without saying. Even if you have just broken through sensing Dao at the early stage, if you want to face Yeyun, I'm afraid it's not enough." He wanted to persuade Yu Qingshan to stop at this point and not try to defeat Yeyun. But Yu Qingshan thought of Yu Mingkong. Thinking of Yu Mingkong being given to Yeyun, his heart felt like it was bleeding. The hatred of taking his wife is so overwhelming, how could he bear it? If he could bear this kind of hatred, wouldn't he become a shrinking turtle in the future? Even a man can't bear such a title. Yu Qingshan said that if he wants to rescue Yu Mingkong, he must rescue Yu Mingkong. "Manly man, say what you say. Master, I have already promised Mingkong that I will lead her to escape Yeyun's clutches, and please help me, Master." After finishing speaking, Yu Qingshan directly knelt on the ground and faced the Kowtow of the remnant soul fiercely. Well, seeing his disciple like this, Cicada Soul also felt very headache, because he couldn't stop Yu Qingshan. "Okay, since you want to save Yu Mingkong so much, then I will help you. This thing, you take it." As soon as the words fell, Remnant Soul suddenly waved his sleeves. I saw a cold glow flashing through the finger in Yu Qingshan's hand, and a sharp sword flew out suddenly. The sharp sword spun rapidly in the air, and finally stabbed fiercely on the ground. When the sword fell to the ground, Yu Qingshan felt a chilling aura coming from it. If it weren't for the improvement of his cultivation base, he might have knelt down just now. "This is a Samsara tool magic treasures that I got by chance. It's called Pojun. It is also the greatest help I can give you so far. I hope you can realize your own wish." When Yu Qingshan learned that this Pojun sword turned out to be a Samsara weapon, his eyes suddenly widened. You must know that the Samsara weapon is a very powerful weapon. Even after refining, it can be reincarnated with its owner. If you want to find a suitable Samsara device, it is rare in the world. Gilo. Swallowing deeply, Yu Qingshan drew out the Pojun sword without hesitation. Chapter 25, Shu. Cold light splattered, and when the Pojun was pulled out, the stone beside it was cut in half by sword chi instantly. Obviously it was only the long sword out of its sheath, and he didn't even use a single bit of his spirit power, yet he had such power. Yu Qingshan was greatly shocked in his heart. When holding the sword in his hand, Yu Qingshan suddenly had a feeling of looking down on the world. As if he had this broken army sword, he could run across the world and the immortal domain. Quickly withdrawing his mind, Yu Qingshan knew very well that this is the powerful Samsara weapon Pojun brought to own confidence. But with his current strength, there is no way to refine this Samsara weapon. Yu Qingshan is confident that as long as he has the Pojun in his hand, even if he really faces Yeyun, he will not be powerless. At this moment, Yu Qingshan was full of confidence, and he was already qualified to challenge Yeyun. But he didn't seem to have thought about one thing at all, that is, as the dignified young master of the Ye family, would Yeyun have no weapons? At this moment, Yu Qingshan, who is already full of ambition, can't wait to leave the place of own practice. Now he is going to tell Yu Mingkong that he has the ability to snatch her back. But when Yu Qingshan rushed back to the family, he was told that Yu Mingkong had already been sent to Yeyun. Because the Yu family was worried that Yeyun would be impatient, they sent Yu Mingkong away very early. When he heard the news, Yu Qingshan's whole body collapsed. Why not wait for yourself? Why give Yu Mingkong Yeyun to Yeyun in advance? Yu Qingshan, who was very angry, directly found the family Yuefan. Patriarch? Why did you rush to give Mingkong to Yayun so early? Why didn't you wait for me to come back? Why? At this moment, Yu Qingshan felt as if he had been betrayed by others. He questioned angrily. However, being questioned by Patriarch Yu Feng, he just raised his head to look at Yu Qingshan, and replied lightly. Waiting for you? What's the use of waiting for you? Can you help Mingkong? Or, do you think you have been able to fight against the Ye family? Stop being funny. Yu Qingshan, recognize your own identity, although your talent is very good, and I used to be very optimistic about you, but this does not mean that you are qualified to be with Mingkong. Don't be a toad who wants to eat swan meat anymore. Mingkong has already followed young Master Yayun, and he is not an existence you can covet. Although he wanted to go out to Mingkong and Yu Qingshan at the beginning, but now, he no longer has such an idea. Since Yu Mingkong has already been given to Yayun, there is no doubt that he will be Yayun's roommate in the future. For the Yu family, this is simply a great thing. It can even be said that it is pie in the sky, because even a little bit of Yejia's flow out from the fingers can already support Yuejia to death. With the support of the big family, the Yu family will definitely be able to go further in the future, and even become stronger with the help of the Ye family. As for Yu Qingshan, even though he is a genius, even compared with his own daughter, he is not far behind. It can be just that. So what? About a genius, even a genius can match Yayun? You must know that Yayun has an immortal body, which is almost known in the immortal domain. Yayun, but has the qualifications of the great emperor. No matter how strong you are, Yu Qingshan, can you compare to a great emperor in the future? From Yuefen's point of view, it was obviously impossible. Since you can't resist Yayun, then cater to Yayun well, which is also good for the Yu family. Patriarch, Yu Qingshan's eyes are about to burst. He never thought that the patriarch whom he once respected would say such words. It is a shameful thing that the family's prosperity depends on a woman. What's wrong with me? Isn't what I said the truth? Qingshan, you must have a lot of achievements in the future, but compared to young Master Yayun, you are not a star and a half behind. Cultivating hard is what you should think about. As for Mingkong, you don't have to think about it in the future. It is impossible for her to follow you. After Yuefen's words, Yu Qingshan broke the defense on the spot. His face became very ferocious. Yu Qingshan panted heavily, and stared fiercely at Yuefen. I thought that the talent and speed of cultivation that I showed were enough to impress Yu Qingshan, and the other party also intended to match herself and Yu Mingkong before. Now he actually backtracked, saying that he was worthless. This was the first time Yu Qingshan had seen such a moon breeze. But seeing this once was enough, and he was very angry. Patriarch? I can't give up easily. I naturally have my own way. Let's wait and see. After finishing speaking, Yu Qingshan flicked his sleeves fiercely, turned and left the room. Looking at Yu Qingshan, who left the room full of anger, Yuefen shook his head disdainfully. He was willing to support Yu Qingshan and Yu Mingkong before, but it does not mean that he is willing to support them now. His daughter obviously already had a better choice, so why bother with Yu Qingshan? You brat who is overconfident, do you think you can fight against young Master Yayun? Huh? Self-righteous fool. That's right. From Yuefen's point of view, Yu Qingshan is just a self-righteous fool. Yu Qingshan left angrily, thinking of Yu Mingkong's voice and smile in the past. The anger in his heart became even worse, and he couldn't control so much anymore. After tidying up briefly, he headed straight to the Ye family land. He challenged Yayun again today, and defeated Yayun with his own hands, taking Yu Mingkong away. Yu Qingshan, who possessed the Pajun sword, already felt that he had the chance to win. Today's battle with Yayun, he can't possibly lose. Yayun will definitely lose in the hands of On, he is so convinced. On the other side, inside Yun's palace, he is currently cultivating. You must know that there is no room for sloppy cultivation. If you want to improve your cultivation base, you must work hard. Ding! Master, it is detected that the current son of fortune Yu Qingshan hates the master very much, and is now on the way here, trying to defeat the master and take Yu Mingkong away. At this time, the voice of the system reminder resounded in his mind. Yayun, who was originally immersed in cultivation, suddenly opened his eyes when he heard the sound of the system. Unexpectedly, Qingshan really came this month. I don't know if this guy really has the self-confidence to defeat him, or if he has a lack of brain. He dares to come to him on his own initiative. Is this the confidence in yourself as a son of fortune? Yeyun couldn't help but find it a little funny. Sure enough, the son of fortune, there are many childish existences, who see everything so simple. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe. Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 26, Yeyun, who was floating in the midair of the palace, landed slowly. He has fully grasped the power that belongs to him, the early stage of power, worthy of the name. Coupled with the fact that Yeyun has the Samsara weapon-killing sword in his hand, the supreme magic pupil and the ancient magic scripture, Yeyun is confident that he can fight against the people at the peak of power. Even if you can't defeat your opponent, the opponent shouldn't easily defeat you. Fellow cultivator of immortals and demons, the combat power that Yeyun can display is not just as simple as it seems on the surface. Running the spirit power in his body, Yeyun spoke slowly. Decree, if Yu Qingshan comes to the door, let him in, let him come to Tenjayun Mountain, I will wait for him at the top of Tenjayun Mountain. A burst of mysterious sound resounded in all directions of the palace. All the guards guarding the palace could naturally hear that this was the voice of their young master. After receiving the order, they all knew what to do next. Although they don't understand why their young master asked Yu Qingshan to meet him this year, they don't need to delve too much into the matter of their young master. After sending the order down, Yeyun did not go to the top of Tenjayun Mountain alone. He first came to the backyard and found Yu Mingkong, who was studying. Yu Mingkong, who was studying seriously, was actually a little impatient in her heart, but when she saw Yeyun, she immediately corrected her own attitude and dared not show the slightest difference. After these 2 days of training, Yu Mingkong's loyalty has reached 60 points. It has to be said that this growth rate is already very fast. Generally speaking, if it is above 60 points, it will not take the initiative to betray Yeyun. Unless something particularly serious happens, Yu Mingkong may choose to betray Yeyun. Young Master, X3 Xiaohe, Qiu Lan, and Yu Mingkong saluted together. Seeing such a respectful Yu Mingkong, Yeyun nodded in satisfaction. As expected after a few days of training, it finally achieved some results. Yeyun pointed to Yu Mingkong and said softly, Mingkong, come with me, I want to take you out for a while. Originally thought that Yeyun came to find Xiaohe and Qiu Lan, but unexpectedly came to find On, Yu Mingkong was a little surprised. But Yu Mingkong didn't think too much about it at the moment. Since he found himself, it is very likely that something really happened. Yes, young master. Yu Mingkong glanced at Xiaohe and Qiu Lan beside him. Seeing that they didn't say anything, he felt relieved. If I go out with Yeyun this time and make the two sisters unhappy, then I am afraid that I will suffer. The past 2 days have allowed Yu Mingkong to explain a lot clearly, and she also knows what On's identity is, that is, a mate who is similar to Xiaohe and the others. The most outstanding genius of my Tang Tangyu family is actually just a servant girl, and I feel a little bit aggrieved in my heart. But she also knew that she couldn't help herself now and had no choice. At this time, Xiaohe took the initiative to stand up and asked with some expectation, Young master, do you want me to go with Kailan? And Yeyun couldn't tell. Xiaohe was a little nervous because she was worried that Yu Mingkong would take away their place. Smiling lightly, Yeyun gently stroked Xiaohe's face with his hands. Okay, there is indeed something to do. This time you don't need to follow along. Don't worry, this is the Ye family. No one who doesn't have eyes will dare to do anything to me. After finishing speaking, Yeyun silently added a sentence in his heart at the same time. Except for that idiot Yu Qingshan? Judging from the current situation, he and Yu Qingshan should be in an endless situation. I'm afraid that fool really has the courage to attack himself. However, even if Yu Qingshan has a good talent, if he has a breakthrough in a short period of time, it may not be easy to catch up with him. It can even be said that this is not something that can be done in a short period of time. The breakthrough of strength and the strengthening of strength require time to accumulate. Seeing that Yeyun doesn't need the two of them to follow, Xiaohe and Qiu Lan will naturally not disobey Yun's order, so they nodded. Let's go, follow me to the top of Tenjayun Mountain, someone will come soon. After speaking, Yeyun turned and walked out of the backyard. Yu Mingkong didn't have time to think about anything now, so he followed directly. She didn't quite understand what Yeyun meant just now. After Yeyun and Yu Mingkong left, Xiaohe and Qiu Lan were left in the backyard. I heard. Kailan, slightly unhappy, pouted and said, Sister Xiaohe, Yu Mingkong has only been here for 2 days, why did the young master take her out? Hearing this, Xiaohe raised her brows and glared at Kailan. Xiaolan, there are some things you can say, and some things you can't say. In the future, you are absolutely not allowed to arrange the young master behind your back. If I hear such words again, be careful and put you in confinement. After a sharp reprimand, Kailan's eyes turned red immediately, and she nodded weakly. It was only at this time that Kailan realized what she had just said. Fortunately, the young master didn't hear this, otherwise if the young master got angry, she might suffer disaster. Although she was reprimanded, Xu Lan did not blame Xiaohe. Her usual temperament is a bit careless. Xiaohe always helps herself to change this. Of course she doesn't blame Xiaohe. Sister Xiaohe, I know I was wrong, and I promise that this will never happen next time. As she spoke, Kailan raised 3 fingers and swear to God. She just felt a little dissatisfied because Yu Mingkong received preferential treatment. Gently patted Kailan's shoulder, Xiaohe comforted her. Okay, just remember it, but don't blame me for speaking a little fiercely. For us, we should always pay attention to our own words and deeds. Yes, Miss Xiaohe. Kailan nodded again and again, not daring to continue making sarcastic remarks. Here, Yayun boarded the own Kailan car with Yu Mingkong. It was the first time for Yu Mingkong to sit in a Kailan car, and he felt a surge of excitement. In his heart, you know this is a Kailan car? The carts in front are all Kailan, not to mention their terrifying strength, but they are also very humane. It was the first time to ride in such a luxurious car. Yu Mingkong carefully looked around, as if afraid of breaking something. Looking at the fairy mountain cloudscape that kept sliding by outside the window, Yu Mingkong couldn't help feeling a little emotional. This is the life of the young master of the Ye family. It's just this Kailan driving out. Anyone who sees the 4 attribute Kailan in front of them will feel afraid and even dare not move forward easily. My lord, shouldn't these Kailan with 4 attributes be very talented and have a strong cultivation base? Why are they so rare that you use them to pull carts? Yu Mingkong said that he couldn't understand life of the rich. Chapter 27. After hearing Yu Mingkong's doubts, Yayun smiled. The 4 of them are actually not bad in strength. Now each of them is a king-conferring existence. Don't you think it's incredible? Yayun looked at Yu Mingkong, and found that the other party's eyes were wide open at this time, and there was a deep sense of disbelief in his eyes. Seal the king, realm. At first, Yu Mingkong thought he heard it wrong, but when he saw Yayun's confirming eyes, Yu Mingkong knew what he heard was true. The 4 Kailans pulling carts outside are all from the king-conferring realm. You must know that the king-conferring realm is already very powerful. Compared with the current Yu Mingkong, he was 3 ranks higher. In other words, the 4 Kailan outside, no matter which one they are, can easily crush and kill Yu Mingkong. Gilu. Such a powerful 4-headed Kailan is only used to pull a cart. This luxurious lineup is simply unbelievable. Sheer inhumanity? If he had 4 Kailans like this, Yu Mingkong believed that he would keep them well at home and take care of them with good food and drink. Because these Kailan will become stronger in the future, and at the very least they will be able to achieve the position of saint. You must know that now, there is only one saint in the Yu family, and this person is the elder of the Yu family, who is already very old. The other elders are either immortal or quasi-sages, and there is no second saint. That's why, the Yu family is just a moderate force. Compared with other smaller forces, it is of course stronger, but compared with these big forces, it is nothing at all. Yu Mingkong was speechless. She was hit too hard. Although I have a good talent, compared to Yayun, I may not be anything at all. At this moment, Yu Mingkong couldn't help belittle himself. It is also a good thing that I am by Yayun's side, and I may be able to see a wider sky in the future. The Kailan car galloped through the sky, passed through clouds, and finally came to a mountain top. Noticing that he was about to arrive at the place, he said, Yayun said lightly, "Go down." The Kailan car descended slowly and landed on the ground very smoothly. On the other side, Yu Qingshan hurried to the outside of Yayun's palace. Seeing the guards guarding the front, Yu Qingshan is still very sober, relying on his own strength. It is almost impossible to break through. And these soldiers are elites, and the minimum is supernatural power realm. Pointing to the inner space, Remnant Soul said earnestly, Qingshan, don't conflict with these soldiers. The weakest of them is also the existence of supernatural power realm. There are a lot of people. You have to be more careful. If you can, I really don't recommend you to move on, but I know I can't stop you, so you can do it yourself. He cherishes his disciple very much, but he also knows that this disciple cannot be stopped, so that's the case. Yes, Master. Yu Qingshan was even more eager to see Yu Mingkong at this time, so he hurriedly responded. The guard noticed Yu Qingshan, who was approaching from this side, and stopped him from asking, "You are Yu Qingshan?" He just needs to confirm whether this person's identity is Yu Qingshan or not. Other things have nothing to do with him. How did this guard know his name? Yu Qingshan expressed some incomprehension. Yu Qingshan, go in. Young master told me to inform you that he is waiting for you at the top of Tenjiayun Mountain. After speaking, he turned his body sideways to make way. Seeing that the passage has been opened, Yu Qingshan doesn't know what kind of medicine is sold in this Yayun jar. But now he doesn't have time to think so much. Yu Mingkong has been sent here for 2 days. He must hurry up and rescue her. Taking a deep look at the guards, Yu Qingshan entered the area under Yayun's jurisdiction. When the guard continued to advance in Yuking Mountain, he suddenly reminded loudly, "Go straight ahead. The highest mountain you can see is Tenjiayun Mountain." After hearing the news, Yu Qingshan looked around and finally saw the highest mountain. The mountain peak soars into the clouds, straight into the sky, looks very majestic and magnificent. After already having a goal, Yu Qingshan hurried towards that side in a hurry. He hadn't seen Yu Mingkong for 2 days, and he was very concerned about it, wondering how Yu Mingkong was doing now. He ran all the way and finally came to the foot of the mountain. Looking at the towering top of the mountain, the majestic momentum makes people yearn for it. Although it has reached the early stage of the sensing Dao state, Yu Qingshan doesn't know how to use sword flying. Such a high mountain, if you climb up the mountain abruptly, I am afraid it will not be an easy task, and it will consume a lot of energy. Qingshan, Master will help you. The remnant soul in the finger suddenly waved his sleeves, and a strange force instantly supported Yu Qingshan. Under this force, Yuking Mountain rose into the sky and slowly flew towards the top of the mountain above. Although the remnant soul has only a little strength left, it can still be used to help Yu Qingshan a little bit. Thank you, Master. Feeling the gradually rising body, Yu Qingshan watched the clouds gradually fall from on, feeling very comfortable. He didn't have to struggle to climb up, which was very comfortable. If you rely on your previous self, it is not an easy task to reach the top of the mountain. Right now on the top of the mountain, Yayun is standing on the round platform on the top of the mountain, quietly waiting for the arrival of Yuking Mountain. As for Yu Mingkong, he also stood quietly beside Yayun. She didn't quite understand why Yayun brought herself to this place. This is a bare mountaintop, with a man-made field in the middle, which is very large. Young Master, what are we here for? Yu Mingkong, who had been thinking clearly, asked Yayun. The corner of the mouth slightly opened. Yayun smiled. Of course I came here to meet someone, this person, but he came here just for you. Come for me. Yu Mingkong's voice subconsciously raised a little. At this time, she suddenly remembered what Yu Qingshan had said to her when she was locked up. He said that he would definitely defeat Yayun, and after defeating Yayun, he would be able to rescue her, and the two would leave together at that time. At that time, Yu Mingkong didn't take this matter to heart at all, and only regarded it as Yu Qingshan joking with himself. Unexpectedly, now it seems that this thing is about to come true. Yu Qingshan was really coming, which made Yu Mingkong a little puzzled as to why the other party did this. Is it just because of yourself? He is willing to risk everything for himself? Chapter 28. Although I have a little bit of affection for Yu Qingshan, it's only because of the other party's talent. Yu Mingkong is a very ambitious person. She hopes that she can become very strong, but at the same time, she also hopes to have someone available under her command. In her eyes, Yu Qingshan is a good genius. If you can take it under your command, it will be of great help to your future blueprint. That's all, nothing else. But now, Yu Mingkong's original blueprint has disappeared, and Yuking Mountain has naturally become a dispensable existence. At this time, the water Kylan beside him suddenly snorted. Puff. This is obviously to remind Yayun that someone is coming. Yayun didn't continue to say anything, but looked in the direction Shui Kylan was pointing at. There was nothing there at all, but immediately after, a daoist figure rose into the air from below and landed firmly on the ground. Dressed in white and holding a long sword, he looked awe-inspiring. The person who came was naturally Yuking Mountain. He successfully reached the top of the mountain with the help of his master, without consuming any physical strength or spirit power. Yukingshan, which was firmly on the ground, naturally noticed Yayun and Yuemingkong immediately. Especially when seeing Yumingkong, Yu Qingshan was full of surprises. I thought that when I came here today, I could only see Yayun at most, but I didn't expect to see Yu Mingkong, whom I had been thinking about day and night. Just right. Taking this opportunity to defeat Yayun, and then take away Yu Mingkong, everything is so natural. This is what Yu Qingshan had in mind. He thought that it was impossible for him to lose. With the Samsara armor-breaking sword in his hand, it shouldn't be a big problem to deal with Yayun from the previous chi deviation. He is so confident, and he doesn't know who gave him such good confidence. As soon as he came up, Yu Qingshan completely ignored Yayun. His whole heart was completely hung on Yu Mingkong, and asked worriedly, "Mingkong, are you okay? Did this bastard bully you?" He was really worried about Yu Mingkong, worried about what would happen to her, whether she would be bullied. I don't know if it should be said that a newborn calf is not afraid of tigers, but this is the first time Yayun has seen someone dare to ignore Own. He would be ignored. Yayun suddenly burst out laughing. The sudden loud laughter was so ear-piercing that Yu Mingkong immediately became nervous when he heard it, for fear that Yayun might misunderstand something. "Yukingshan, I am living a good life here, and I don't need you to worry about anything. If you have nothing to do, you should go back quickly." Yu Mingkong didn't want Yayun to be misunderstood because of Yu Qingshan's words just now. When the time comes, the misunderstanding will become big, and it will be really troublesome. My current position in Yayun is the same as that of a personal servant girl. If I want to go further, I must not show any stains. That's right, Yu Mingkong has now accepted his fate. But I can't resist at all, so just accept it openly. Although I am about the same as a personal servant girl now, I will definitely be able to climb higher in the future. But before he climbs higher, there will be many obstacles, and Yuking Mountain is obviously his own obstacle now. I thought I would get a response from Yu Qingshan, but when I heard Yu Mingkong's words, I couldn't believe it. Obviously he was concerned about Yu Mingkong, but the other party didn't seem to appreciate it at all, and wanted to drive him away. This made Yu Qingshan a little confused about what happened to Yu Mingkong in just 2 days. Noticing Yayun, Yu Qingshan tightly clenched his fists because he thought of a possibility. "Mingkong, did this guy bully you, making you dare not tell the truth at all?" He immediately pointed the finger at Yayun, which made Yu Mingkong feel even more hatred. "This month, Qingshan, don't you know what it means to judge the situation? I have already said that I don't need this guy's help, but he is still here to stir up trouble for himself." Yu Mingkong hated Yu Qingshan very much in his heart at the moment, and felt that this guy was too annoying. But Yayun, who was suddenly targeted, was checking the relevant information of Yuking Mountain. Name, Yuking Mountain. Age, 21 years old. Identity, son of fortune, member of the Yu family. Cultivation base, early stage of sensing. Dao physique, tempered body. Cultivation technique, sky uplifting Ju, killing sword Ju, thunder. Footwork. Magic treasures, broken army sword, samsara tool. Luck value, 12,800. Attitude, hatred, 90, hatred towards the host. Introduction, Yu Qingshan was just an ordinary member of the Yu family, and his father was a collateral lineage of the Yu family, but his father had been nurturing a jade ring finger, and in this jade ring finger, there was a great saint realm. Remnant soul. After Yu Qingshan's father passed away, the finger fell into Yu Qingshan's hands, and the remnant soul of the great saint awakened to help Yu Qingshan, using various heavenly and mortal treasures to help him change his physical fitness. After thousands of tempers, he has become a tempered body, with a strong body and the ability to leapfrog challenges. Under the guidance of the remnant soul of the great saint, Yu Qingshan will advance by leaps and bounds, soaring into the sky, blue out of blue and better than blue, and finally become supreme and become the power of the immortal domain. Form a partner with Yu Mingkong and create a new powerful force in the immortal domain. When all the relevant information was listed in front of Yayun, Yayun felt a little surprised. Because I got 200 villain points from him before, so now he only has 12,800 points, which should have been 13,000 points of luck. Unexpectedly, Yu Qingshan's luck value was even higher than Yu Mingkong's. But that's right, As mentioned in the introduction, Yukingshan can become a party's power in the future. The most important thing is that this guy actually got together with Yu Mingkong in the future, and both of them are supreme. Perhaps, this is the so-called hero and heroine. It's just that all this has changed now because of the arrival of On. Yu Mingkong has now been taken under his command. Even if he can awaken in the future and restore his past life memories, Yayun is not worried that the other party will escape the clutches of On. As for Yukingshan, he is just a kid with little ability now. Even with the Samsara armor-breaking sword, combined with his tempered body, at most it can only match the late stage of the Sensing Deo realm, and it may not even be able to deal with the peak of the Sensing Deo realm. What's more, I have already broken through to the early stage of the Power realm, and this month's Green Mountains are simply beyond my control. I'm afraid. This guy thought that his chi deviation and cultivation base had plummeted, so he took this opportunity to challenge himself and take away Yu Mingkong. Yayun chuckled, wishful thinking. For Yu Qingshan to still be stalking him at this moment, Yu Mingkong didn't feel grateful at all. On the contrary, he felt very disgusted. She looks at Yuking Mountain now. The more she looks at it, the more she hates it. Chapter 29, Can't this guy just practice on his own? Why did you have to find yourself? Yukingshan, I have already said that everything is voluntary by myself, so don't sow discord here. I have not suffered any grievances from young Master Yayun, so there is no need for you to worry about it here. After some sarcastic remarks, Yu Qingshan, who was originally fiery in his heart, suddenly seems to have been poured with a basin of cold water. Ding! Yu Mingkong's ruthlessness successfully hit the heart of Son of Fortune Yu Qingshan, and lost 500 luck points. Congratulations to the master for getting 500 villain points. Currently, the owner has a villain value of 3,700 points. Just because of Yu Mingkong's words, Yayun directly obtained 500 villain points, which is not too exciting. Mingkong, you. After being scolded like this, Yu Qingshan became quite disappointed. He thought that Yu Mingkong was willing to take the initiative to leave with him when he came here excitedly, but the situation seems to be different now. After thinking about it, Yu Qingshan felt right. Yayun is still here now. How dare Yu Mingkong go against his will? He certainly dare not tell the truth. Let yourself be able to defeat Yayun. Mingkong will definitely be willing to leave here with him. With this idea in mind, Yu Qingshan's eyes suddenly became firm. Staring straight at Yayun, Yu Qingshan slowly drew out the Pajun sword in his hand. Shoo! The sharp blade came out of its sheath, cut through the sky, and made a clanging sound. Yayun, I want to challenge you. Use this as the arena. As long as I defeat you, you will set Mingkong free. His eyes were full of determination, as if he had made up his mind to do this. When he heard that Yu Qingshan wanted to challenge Yayun, Yu Mingkong's eyes widened slightly, and his mouth opened slightly. She felt incredible. Where did Yu Qingshan get the confidence to dare to challenge Yayun? This kid is purely a newborn calf who is not afraid of tigers. Looking at the moon and green mountains with great interest, Yayun never thought that this guy would be so courageous. I don't know who gave him such courage to take the initiative to challenge himself. I have no problem, but you can take Yu Mingkong away if you win. So what if I win? It can't be that I'm the only one making the bet. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Tell me, what's your bet? This person in front of him is the Son of Fortune. Yayun still wants the remaining 12,300 points of luck in the other party. Relying on own strength may be able to kill the opponent, but the huge luck value is just in vain, which is really not worthwhile. Since the Son of Fortune in front of him is so good, if he doesn't squeeze the other party dry, then he is really sorry for the other party. I lost. If I lost, I will give you this sword. After thinking for a long time, Yu Qingshan gritted his teeth fiercely, and raised the Pajun sword in his hand. Now the only thing he can get out of his body is this broken army sword. Aoyama. After hearing this, the remnant soul inside the finger almost died of anger on the spot. I gave all the things at the bottom of the box to Yu Qingshan, but this guy was lucky enough to take it out as a bet. If he had known it would be like this, he would never have given Yu Qingshan the only army-breaking sword in his hand. What a misfortune for Shimin. Well, Remnant Soul sighed deeply. Because he knows the current Yu Qingshan, he can't listen to his own words at all. At this moment, He only hoped that Yukingshan could win this match with Peter, so that he could keep his broken army sword. Then if he loses, the broken army sword that he has kept for so long will change hands, and it hurts to think about it. Yukingshan can naturally hear the deep sigh of the master, but judging from the current situation, he has no choice at all. Seeing that Yu Qingshan was willing to take out that broken army sword, Yayun immediately nodded in satisfaction. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it, then let's talk about it. If you lose, that sword will be mine. All he wanted was the sword. The only thing that Yukingshan can handle is this sword. Yayun despises others. The two agreed to fight just like that, without taking Yu Mingkong's mood into consideration at all. Yu Mingkong looked at Yu Qingshan expressionlessly, clenched her fists tightly, and now she wished she could rush up and give this guy a slap. He actually regarded himself as a bargaining chip in the battle. This guy really deserves to die? But Yu Mingkong didn't mean to blame Yayun at all. From Yu Mingkong's point of view, Yayun only agreed to his request in order not to be haunted by Yukingshan. All of this was proposed by Yu Qingshan, and Yu Mingkong felt annoyed thinking about it. In her opinion, Yukingshan is just a self-righteous guy. Obviously it has nothing to do with me, but I still want to help myself like a good old man. I don't even look at whether I need his help or not, it's really selfish. At this time, Yayun suddenly waved to Yu Mingkong, who was beside him. Mingkong, come here. Yu Mingkong was completely used to it in the past 2 days. Without any hesitation at all, he quickly came to Yayun's side. Just when Yu Mingkong was close to own, Yayun grabbed Yu Mingkong's slender waist, and took a hard bite on Yu Mingkong's ruddy lips. The intimate contact between the two instantly stimulated Yu Qingshan fiercely. Yukingshan, who witnessed this scene with his own eyes, was about to burst into tears. He never thought that this would happen suddenly. Yayun, you, let go of Mingkong quickly. You bastard. Yu Qingshan's eyes were about to burst, and he stepped forward with red eyes, trying to separate the two of them. But how could Yayun let him? Ruyi Scepter snapped his fingers lightly at Fang Kailan beside him. Fang Kailan, who was bored at first, instantly understood what his master meant. Roar. There was a fierce roar at Yukingshan. A gust of wind suddenly hit. Leaves all over the sky, sand, and stones splashed. Yukingshan only felt a gust of wind blowing hard, as if it was going to blow itself dry. The forward pace stopped involuntarily, and when he wanted to take the next step, he was pushed back abruptly. Damn it! That beast is so strong! Yu Qingshan was full of unwillingness. He was unexpectedly blocked by the roar of an animal. The angry and unwilling roar did not bring the slightest effect to Yu Qingshan. He could only watch helplessly as Yayun and Yu Mingkong were so close. He even saw with his own eyes that Yu Mingkong kept pushing Yayun with both hands. But there is absolutely no way to push Yayun away. From Yu Qingshan's point of view, Yayun is bullying Yu Mingkong, and it is not Yu Mingkong's problem at all. Ding! Yu Qingshan witnessed the shameless appearance of the master and Yu Mingkong with his own eyes, and was greatly disturbed. He was so angry that he lost 1,000 luck points and the master gained 1,000 villain points. Currently, the owner has a villain value of 4,700 points. Chapter 30. Sure enough, as expected of a lucky baby, with a little calculation, he was able to get a villain value. I'm really sorry for myself if I don't squeeze it well. Being kissed fiercely in front of Yu Qingshan, Yu Mingkong was in a very complicated mood and wanted to push Yayun away, but he couldn't do it at all. From the previous resistance to the current obedience, Yu Mingkong is gradually compromising to Yayun. Yayun noticed that Yu Mingkong's original loyalty point had changed from 60 points to 65 points, and he accidentally added 5 points. Letting go of Yu Mingkong, Yayun had a wicked smile on the corner of his mouth. This Yu Mingkong, is there still a bit of an inclination towards masculinity? Otherwise, why did her loyalty increase instead of decrease when he kissed her forcefully? Yayun, bastard. Yukingshan was powerless to rage there, but he couldn't touch Yayun at all, so he could only roar angrily. Yu Mingkong, who lowered his head slightly, glared at Yukingshan impatiently. She is really annoyed by Yu Qingshan now. If it wasn't because of Yu Qingshan's sudden arrival, such a situation would never have happened. This month Qingshan is really annoying to me. Why do you want to come? Ding! Yu Mingkong hates Yu Qingshan very much now, and there is an irreparable rift between the son of fortune and the daughter of luck. Yu Qingshan lost 2,000 luck points and the owner's villain value increased by 2,000 points, and the current villain value is 6,700 points. Unexpectedly, after some operations, he directly got 3,000 villain points. Yayun didn't understand. He thought that 1,000 points of villain value was already good, but he didn't expect to get 3,000 points directly. As expected of a lucky baby, Yayun suddenly realized that what he did just now was really good. I have used this method once, and I am afraid I will not be able to use it a second time in the future. I must rely on other methods to continue to deprive Yukingshan of his luck. Without even looking at Yuking Mountain, Yayun completely ignored it, and he walked to the most central position on the top of the mountain. With his hands behind his back, he was dressed in a cloud satin brocade dress, his jet black hair was swaying in the wind, and his face was indifferent, giving people a feeling of repelling others thousands of miles away. Seeing Yayun like this, Yu Mingkong felt that own heart beat a little faster unconsciously. She didn't know why she felt this way, and she became a little nervous. Could it be that I am tempted by Yayun? But it's not right. Obviously he forced himself to stay, and even did some excessive things to himself, and he wanted to be tempted by him, which is hard to say. No matter what. Do you still have a tendency to be abused? Shaking his head vigorously, Yu Mingkong put aside all these messy thoughts in his mind. For the next decisive battle, she didn't have any doubts in her heart at this moment. How terrifying is Yayun's current strength? Yu Mingkong knows that even if Yu Qingshan can break through to the early stage of the Sensing Dao realm through opportunistic methods, it is impossible for him to be Yayun's opponent. You must know that Yayun has successfully broken through Sensing Dao and entered the power realm. I don't know, some people may not be talented enough, and they can only be stuck in the Sensing Dao state for the rest of their lives. And Yayun also had chi deviation in front of him. Even under such circumstances, he was able to break through the Sensing Dao realm, which is really unimaginable. Standing there, Yayun glanced at Yukingshan contemptuously, and lightly hooked his fingers. Come on. Don't you want to challenge me? I've given you a chance. Facing a Yuking Mountain with only sensing in the early stage, Yayun doesn't even need a weapon. Even if the opponent holds the Samsara armor-breaking sword in his hand, how much power can it exert? Just like a child, if you give him a cannon, can he use it? Obviously not. Yukingshan is at best relying on the sharpness of the Pajun sword, and is invincible in the same rank. But facing Yayun who has crossed a whole stage, even if he holds a broken army, Yu Qingshan will not be the opponent in the end. Yayun, go to hell. Yu Qingshan was already furious. Holding the broken army sword, tapped his toes, and went straight to Yayun. Sword shadows flickered, and sword rays streaked across the air. Facing the shadows of swords all over the sky, Yayun was not afraid at all, and there was no wave in his heart. Putting the fingers of his right hand together, he suddenly raised his hand and swiped out a sword chi Confucius. Sword chi cut through the air frantically, and the sword ray pushed out by Yu Qingshan was crushed one by one. Seeing the sword chi coming straight towards him, Yu Qingshan never thought that the sword chi that Yayun swung casually would be so strong. Hastily put Pajun across his chest. Clang! Sword chi slammed heavily on Pajun, making a dull sound. This sword chi is full of chilling meaning. Although Pojun successfully resisted the sword chi, under that powerful force, Yu Qingshan couldn't bear it at all, and retreated repeatedly. The Pojun in Yu Qingshan's hands ruthlessly inserted into the ground, and finally stopped his tendency to retreat. But his retreat was more than 10 jong away. Seeing that he was knocked back so far, Yu Qingshan's eyes flashed disbelief. Before Yu Qingshan recovered from the shock, the next moment, Yayun had already appeared in front of him. Without giving Yu Qingshan any chance to react, Yayun slapped him on the chest. Even if you haven't learned any fingering techniques, it's easy to turn it into your own use based on Yayun's understanding of the ancient sword art. And most importantly, this finger contains not only Yayun's spirit power, but also the sword chi released by Yayun. Using your fingers as a sword requires a very high level of understanding of kendo, not just relying on a cultivation base. Yu Qingshan, who was hit by this finger, only felt that a sharp sword pierced On's body. After the sword chi entered his body, it ran quickly, as if he wanted to mess up his own internal organs. But fortunately, Yu Qingshan, who has a tempered body, has not lost the inner cultivation at all, and the strength is far beyond that of people of the same realm. But even so, Yu Qingshan still couldn't hold back, and spurted out a mouthful of old blood. Wow! The whole person was severely injured and retreated again and again. Putting Pajian on the ground, Yu Qingshan knelt down on one knee. The other hand covered the chest hit by this finger just now. Yu Qingshan never thought that the opponent he met would be so powerful. He thought that Ye Yun's cultivation base would plummet after Qi deviation, and if he challenged at this time, his winning rate would definitely be high. But why didn't he expect that he would end up like this instead? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.